Hi. Today we are going to wrap up, at least for the time being, our adventures in the wonderful world of Nipata. And so let's start by reviewing where we've come from. Prakrishvara Nipataha, Prakrishvara Nipataha, Chadayo Sattve, Pradayaha, Upasargah Kriya Yoge, Gatischa. Gatischa is our sutra of the day. Now, just sort of reminding ourselves what's going on so far. Pragrishvara Nipataha does not actually enjoin Nipata to anything. It alerts us to the fact that Nipatas are going to be the star of the show for another 40-something sutras. But it doesn't say anything more than that. Just until Rishvara, keep your eye out for Nipatas. Then Chadayo Sattve, Chadayo Sattve. Now we get a cha gana that is now known to be Nipata as long as they are not related to anything. We've talked a little bit about what a thing might be. And in commentary, there's all sorts of discussion that I don't know about much about at all, but the conclusion is reached that it's not a spiritual thing that's on the table. It's more like the example we gave of an army. An army, that's a thing. So if the pra is related to armies, then the whole Nipata thing is off for that. So now we have a gana of Nipatas with condition of being a sattva. Then we have pradayaha. Pradayaha. Now, pradayaha is another gana, and we might ask, why didn't they wrap up chadaya and pradaya in the same sutra? And in fact, that is an active subject of conversation, has been at least in the past. However, there's good reasons that we can bring to bear on that question, because Chadaya and Pradaya have different futures. If you're Chadaya, you're good for Nipata, but that's it. Don't look any further. However, Pradayaha, asatve nipataha, Pradayaha, asatve nipataha, as far as that goes, it's the same as Chadayaha. But where the difference, where the fork in the road comes for the Chadaya and Pradaya ganas, is in the next sutra. Upasargah Kriya Yoge. Upasargah Kriya Yoge. When linked to action, otherwise known as a verb, Pradaya is not just Nipata, it's also Upasarga. And here, poor little Chadaya just isn't invited to the party. So that's a clear reason to have two different sutras, even though they sound very similar. So, Upasargah Kriya Yoge, Pradayaha Nipataha. So, and I mentioned that I had a little bit of a question at the end there in the example of pranayati, nayati, and the fact that being an upasarga can trigger the change, or more technically, the reversion of a dental na to a murda na, provided it was born na originally. Its original form was na. Now, I said that I had a bit of a conundrum because I didn't have a reliable source of the Dhatupatha. I did plunge into the Dhatupatha as it exists in Siddhanta Kaumudi, and that is a wild and crazy ride. But I was successful, but not entirely convinced. Now, where did my doubt come from? Well, my doubt, I have to admit, came partly from the fact that reverting to my past, my domestic past here, one of the first places I looked was Monier Williams. Now, Monier Williams certainly knows a lot more than I ever will about a lot of things, but it turns out poor old Monier Williams got the idea that the root of for naivety is ni. Ni. Dirga e, dental ni. And also just pranayati is there with a dental also just between us. So that caused me confusion. But then fortunately I did receive 3 wonderful volumes on the Dhatupatha from Aranwal. I have to get, I don't have his name in front of me, which is very wrong, because very, very wonderful project in India, and very helpful. And that did confirm that the root for naivety is ni, or ning, but ni. So it was retroflex or murta. So in fact, we were right. That is an example. Pra plus dental naivety becomes pra plus murta naivety, pranayati. So that's the update on that. Now we have gatischa. So it's not actually a quiz, but since we are now only, after this, 2 sutras away from completing our conversations regarding the sutras for the operation of the grammar as well as the Akshara Samamnaya, might see what we feel prepared for just based on what we have here. So we have Pragrishvara Nipataha, just setting a stage. Then we have Chadayo Sattve, Cha, etc. Get the name Nipata as long as they're playing by the rules as Sattve. Then we have Pradayaha, very similar in kind of identical conditions. Pra, etc. Nipata as long as they're a Sattve. Then the plot thickens with Upasargah Kriya Yoge. Upasargah Kriya Yoge. So, joined to a verb or action, these nipatas of Pradayaha also get the name Upasarga. So now we have one more sutra. We've gone 56, 57, 58, 59, 1, 4, 60. They're all lined up to go. And this is Gatischa. Gatischa what? Well, it is Pradayaha, Upasargaha, Nipataha, Gatischa. Pretty logical, huh? So let's look at it in our more formalized way, I guess you could say. So, Gatischa, Gatischa, Gatihicha, Gatihicha. Anuvriti is Kriya Yoge Pradayaha Upasargaha Nipataha. Kriya Yoge Pradayaha Upasargaha Nipataha. So the full sutra could be given as Kriya Yoge Pradayaha Nipataha Upasargaha Gatischa. Kriya Yoge Pradayaha Nipataha Upasargaha Gatischa. Other words, when in contact with action, Pradayaha, etc., are also called Gati, as well as Nipata and Upasarga. That is a special situation in the grammar, but we don't need to belabor that point. Now, what do we get for being a gati in addition to everything else? Well, gatis are mostly out of my, what do we call it, ballpark. Why? Same as Sambhudao Shakalyasye Tavanarshe. We are anarsha pretty much. We are not deeply delving into Veda. Not deeply delving into Veda. And gati is mostly concerned with accents and preservation of accents and so on. I toyed with giving a very intricate example of this that had to do with tatpurusha compounds and gati and continuing the accent on the second pada of the gati of a phrase, but I skipped it because why? So at the moment, I have to say, and I hope this is not too offhand sounding to anyone. It may be, but for me, what remains of Gatihi is that it's a beautiful name. I think it's just a beautiful name, and it has an auspicious meaning and so on. So for right now, all we need to do is just recognize that pradayaha, in addition to nipataha and upasargaha, has this additional ornament of being gatihi. And that's it for our discussion of nipata.